It's like carrying an entire Street Fighter 2 arcade machine in your pocket. It's Street Fighter 2 for the Game Boy. Being played here on the Super Game Boy using the Super Nintendo. Technology, what will they think of next in 1995 when this game was released? I love the backgrounds and the fact that Chun Li has a twin sister with the exact same name. No wonder they're fighting, they hate each other. You can almost hear the trash talk. When I look at you, it's like staring into a mirror except fatter. Check out the backgrounds in this game and how they match the environments. One of those cool tricks that developers could use when making Game Boy games, enhancing them for the Super Game Boy. This has to be one of my favorite applications of that technology. This game and Donkey Kong both use it remarkably well. Now, if you've ever played Street Fighter 2 before in the arcades, you know that the game has 6 buttons. 3 for punching, 3 for kicking, and the Game Boy only has 2 buttons. So all of the fighting moves have been condensed into 2-button configurations. But if you know the characters, you can basically figure them out fairly easily. Here's what Street Fighter 2 looks like on the actual Game Boy. This is the Game Boy Advance SP. But this game will also work on one of the really old black and white ones. But there's so many other options, like the Gamecube. Game Boy adapter, which is what we're looking at here. All of these different ways to enjoy Street Fighter 2 for the Game Boy. This is a competent version of Street Fighter 2, given the platform. But serious Street Fighter fans will note the speed difference right away, and there's quite a bit of delay from the time that you push a button until something actually happens. There's not that much delay, but enough to notice it's not a quick, responsive game like the arcade machine, obviously. But taking the old-school Game Boy hardware into consideration, this is a remarkably well-designed game, and an effectively condensed version of Street Fighter 2 for the mid-90s. And while it certainly looks cool on the Super Nintendo being played on a larger screen, it only enhances the delay. And if you have a Super Nintendo, you're better off playing the Super Nintendo version of Street Fighter 2. I like the casino background. It's a cool game. It's Street Fighter 2, and this is an excellent buy for Game Boy collectors. It won't cost you very much. I'm not sure why there's dots in the background. That didn't happen with the GameCube Game Boy adapter, but I felt that the delay was even more pronounced on the GameCube. So if you're going to play this one, in short, I would actually recommend the old school Game Boy itself, or the Game Boy Advance SP, because that's the way it was meant to be played. I like the additions they made for the Super Game Boy, but this one really belongs on the small screen. Street Fighter 2 for the Game Boy, a portable version of one of the greatest fighting games in existence.